Good morning, and welcome to the Black Mesa Transit System. This automated train is provided for the security and convenience of the Black Mesa Research Facility personnel.
It seemed like for a while before Half-Life came out, most of the hype wasn't on Half-Life, but it was on Sin. Sin was being pushed as this really intense interactive experience. You know, it was the other big game that was being developed using the, a combination of the Quake 1, Quake 2 engines at the time. And then all of a sudden, Half-Life became the game to watch. Like, a few new screenshots got released. It was kind of the same thing as when Half-Life 2 finally got announced. Like, all of a sudden, Half-Life was the game you were looking forward to. And, it came out, and it totally changed the way that people looked at FPS after that.
You'll just have to wait until after the test. Excuse me, Gordon, but I'm rather busy now.
Everyone cites the very beginning of the game where you're actually in an action game, but you're not really doing anything except exploring your environment, getting used to things. People are talking to you, telling you, here's how things work. And then when you realize that everything is in your own perspective, the entire game, you're never pulled out for a cutscene or anything. If someone's going to give you something, they'll actually reach toward the camera and put it in your hands.
Like Sean said, it's really the beginning of the game. Like, I remember being loading the game up, hopping on the train for the first time, and going, wow, this is really cool, and then bumping my mouse and going, oh my god, I can't believe I can control this bit, And seeing the names of the creators running through the credits, it was just so much more cinematic than anything else that had come before.
Exposed to radioactive or other hazardous materials.
Don't shoot! I'm with the science team! Transmitting organic matter.
I know for me, the Half-Life 1 took a long time to finish just because it was so difficult. I didn't, for some reason, the Marines would just kick my ass all the time, and I would just keep reloading and keep reloading. But it was one of those things where you didn't feel like you were cheated out of your life because they beat you fair and square. They they used tactics and they flanked me or whatever.
Well, the end is definitely the worst part of the game. Not to spoil that. It was definitely one of those we ran out of ideas, so here's some floating platforms and some bulbous alien butt.
Well, unlike Sean, I didn't think that the Zen levels at the end were that bad. I remember getting to those last areas and going holy shit, this is completely different than the entire rest of the game so far, and the platforming bits really did push your skills.
I'd love to hang that over my fireplace. If I had one. See, now I've heard rumors that you troops may not actually be here to rescue us. Just don't forget about us out there, alrighty? Okay, I'll let you through now.
At the time, it was really excellent because Half-Life was so good. The way the story was structured, never breaking that first-person perspective, never throwing you into a cutscene, being able to see the game from the other perspective, going through and noticing spots where maybe Gordon had run before, and.
Wait, so you were playing a Marine, right?
Right. Your name's Adrian Shepard in Opposing Force, and the intro sequence is reminiscent of the intro to Half-Life, but. Actually more of a ripoff of maybe the intro to Aliens.
Okay, listen up, people! We have an extremely hostile situation! Determine the amount of opposition, so let's keep this tight!
Maybe it didn't feel quite as good as the original Half-Life, but it still felt like Half-Life, and that was all that mattered at the time. People were fiending for more Half-Life. Half-Life 2 wasn't anywhere in sight, and so Opposing Force fit the bill.
Blue Shift brings up memories of Half-Life on Dreamcast that was it was summarily axed by I think Valve. I mean, I saw it at Gearbox back in 2001, so about a year after they canceled it, I got hands-on with it, and it was really choppy. It was I was playing the Zen levels, and it was just it was practically unplayable. What was going to be cool was that they were going to put Blue Shift on the Dreamcast version.
I appreciate your help, but I'm afraid those bastards did their damage already.
Playing Barney just didn't feel that cool. I don't know why. No, nobody wants to be Barney. Yeah.
Barney makes it to Zen. Like, Barney travels to the alien world and survives. Like, that's pretty insane, you know?
We didn't want to play Barney, the nerdy security guard, but I mean, like, because we never, what would Half-Life be if we had to see ourselves? You know, Gordon Freeman, he's like, nerd of all nerds, and he's like, I mean, maybe that's what made him popular on the covers and stuff, is that some people out there in PC land said, that's me. I'm tough, I got a crowbar. You've got all these sort of precursors to the norms now, you know, capture points that are standard in Battlefield and Day of Defeat, push-pull maps, which there's variations of them in Unreal Tournament and whatnot, where basically you have a defending team and an attacking team, and as you go back in various stages of the map and different things like that. But now what's still amazing about it is that there's such variety between the classes. You know, it's a team-based game where you have, you know, a blue team and a red team, pretty simple. But then there are all these different classes, and each one is just really wildly unique. The engineer, same way too. I mean, they're building these sentry guns and things like that, and they can build these dispensers to give ammunition to their teammates, and it just even for, you know, I would say for the time and even today, it's just a really flexible game. Like even like the ammunition dispenser, it's made just to give ammo, but instead people figured out that they can bind a key to destroy it when they want, and it will also notify them when an enemy's using it to get ammo. So they start blocking hallways and stuff with it, and enemies are just trying to jump over it and get go, but it gives them a momentary notice that says enemies using it, and then they blow it up immediately, and that kills them. So there's just tons of stuff like that no one, I mean, it's hard to imagine that they had anticipated, but it just all came together in this right way. And I mean, it's an ugly game now, but it's a really fun game.
I was on a trip in Korea, and I was bored, and I went into one of those internet cafes in Korea. Yeah, and they're insane over there. I think they all want to be like counter-terrorists or something. Like they're just crazy over there, and like everybody was playing Counter-Strike at the time, either that or StarCraft. And so I tried it in Korea, and like that's when I got hooked, because I was playing against all these Korean kids who were like super good, and you know, they would do GG, you know, all that. So yeah.
Counter-Strike style of, you know, die and then wait the rest of the match just wasn't suited for me, because I mean, I like to take all these big risks and stuff, and a lot of time it doesn't work, and then I end up sitting there watching other people play that were
No, but it's very high stakes. It's very tense because you don't want to die.
It's a really, I don't know, I look at it as like a pure shooter, in that, I mean, it just privileges just unerring accuracy. It's who can get that, you know, who understands the recoil on their weapon perfectly, who can get the cursor right where it needs to be and maintain it there. It's one of those games. I'm surprised you enjoyed it, jumping into that pool of sharks that you did, because, I mean...
Well, the learning curve was insane. Yeah, it was steep.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
You play a lot of Day of Defeat?
Play a fair amount, and like Ryan says, I mean, I think for guys like us that don't like the waiting, it was the perfect compromise. Like, we can keep getting back into the action, and yet it still privileges that twitch that the Counter-Strike does. And it's also pure in that it's not about which weapon you've got, but how you're using it. Again, it's hardcore. Like, say you have something like a Browning automatic rifle. You fire 3 shots, not even in a burst, and then by the time you're done, if you're not correcting it with your mouse, you're pointing straight up at the sky. But I mean, you can definitely get the hang of it, and it's really, you know, it's really satisfying, because everyone that's playing the game is aware of what it takes to do all that stuff. You know.
Are you looking forward to the Source version?
Yeah, I definitely am. I mean, just even from what we've seen, it's you know, from what I played, actually, it's more or less the same game with some refinements, and they're definitely open to refining it all the way. I mean, for the people that play this stuff on a tournament level, any change it's going to seem like a whole another world. But for the casual person, you're going to get a really good looking game, and you know, just the physics that everyone's always talking about with Source. I mean, it's getting older, but it's still fun. You know, you hit someone with the Panzerfaust, they just fly, land in telephone wires and get stuck, and then dangle down by an ankle or something. I mean, it's going to be another game than Day of Defeat in terms of just the overall, you know, excitement and everything.
5 minutes remaining.